Time for your weekly dose of amazing facts. Woo! Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Al Green made more royalties from the Big Mouth Millie Bass Wallfish toy than any other for his song Take Me to the River. Vortex One was the only state-sponsored rock festival in US history. It was done in Oregon, coinciding with a visit from President Nixon to support the Vietnam War as a distraction for anti-war protesters. Researchers from the University of Wyoming have developed a way to incorporate spider silk spinning genes into goats, allowing these goats to produce silk protein from their milk. Spider goat, spider goat. A man named Felix Gretersson from Iceland lost both arms in a work accident. He received a successful double arms and shoulders transplant, which was the first of its kind in the entire world. In 1962, an Englishman named Brendan Grimshaw bought a lone island in the Seychelles in the Somali Sea segment of the Indian Ocean, northeast of Madagascar, and settled there for the rest of his life. He planted over 16,000 trees, attracting countless species, and actually made it a national park. On May 3, 2008, activists in the European nation of Estonia organized themselves and cleaned up the country's 10,000 tons of waste and litter in a single day. There's a popular drink in the Caribbean called peanut punch, made with peanut butter, milk, and sugar. Some people also add white rum or stout beer for it. Added kick. One of the earliest forms of biological warfare was used by the Mongols, who used to catapult plague-infected bodies over city walls to infect their enemies. Rednecks, the creators of the 90s hit Cotton Eye Joe, is actually a Swedish musical group. During the first days of a baby deer's life, aka a fawn, they lie still and are mostly alone apart from brief visits from their mother. Because they lie still though, they are safe from predators and should be not approached by humans. Smarties in the United States, Rockets in Canada, and Fizzers or Love Hearts in the UK and Australia are all the same candy. Also, to further complicate things, our Smarties here in Canada are actually candy-covered chocolates. Not the same as M&M's, very different, more delicious. Highway hypnosis, also known as white line fever, is an altered mental state in which a person can drive a car, a truck, or an automobile great distances, responding to external events in the expected, safe, and correct manner with no memory of having consciously done so. Canada has a remote island in Nova Scotia called Sable Island. The Canadian government planted 70,000 trees on the 26-mile or approximately 42-kilometer long sandbar, and only one survived, a scrubby pine that's decorated for Christmas every year. Research has shown that elephants can hear clouds approaching and sense them when storms are coming. Their large ears are able to interpret sounds that our ears can't. Elephant ear canals actually allow them to pick up on infrared waves, which are much longer wavelengths than what the average human ear can hear. 4 brothers from New York fought in World War II. Known as the Nyland brothers, 2 died in combat, 1 survived, and 1 was believed to be dead, but actually survived the war and was held in a Japanese POW camp in Burma. Their story is what inspired Saving Private Ryan. In 1925, a man in Norway invented a special cheese slicer called Ostehøvel. It was so hated that many people in the country created special bins captioned with "Throw your cheese slicer in here." I had no idea that people in Norway were so passionate about cheese. There's a rock conglomerate called pudding stone, which consists of colorful rounded pebbles in a cemented matrix. It's said to be named after Christmas pudding, aka figgy pudding, due to its occasional resemblance to the dried fruit dish, especially when polished. Rock dessert. Oh. The first female presidential candidate in US history was Victoria Woodhull. She was a suffragist, women's rights activist, entrepreneur, and political activist. Unfortunately, her campaign encountered obstacles due to her age and imprisonment on obscenity charges just before the election. There's actually a 4th monkey in the famous See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil group of monkeys. It's the Do No Evil monkey, and it's covering its genitals. When Pompeii's Vesuvius erupted, the bodies of its citizens didn't turn to stone. Instead, their bodies were enveloped in debris which hardened, and over time, all that was left was hollow cavity statues. During the first excavations, these cavities were filled with plaster-like material, creating detailed replicas. Many blind people have trouble falling asleep because their bodies can't differentiate between day and night, causing their melatonin levels to be affected. When crocodiles chase their prey, they gallop like a horse. Still terrifying though, still terrifying. The Romans had the first newspaper in the world called the Acta Diurna, or Daily Doings, in 59 BC. Although no copies of the paper have survived, it's widely believed to have published chronicles, events, assemblies, births, deaths, and daily gossip. The Red Hot Chili Peppers recorded their album Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic in the mansion that Harry Houdini allegedly once lived in. The band wanted to record in an unusual setting to enhance their creative output. Drummer Chad Smith was convinced that the house was haunted and refused to stay in the house. The feeling of being awake when you're actually sleeping is a disorder called paradoxical insomnia. If you've ever wondered why you enjoy music so much, it's because the human brain evolved to identify and enjoy patterns like chord progressions and a melody, which in turn releases dopamine. There's only one species of gilled mushroom that grows underwater called the Satharella aquatica that was first discovered in 2005. There was an elite force of soldiers in 4th century Thebes called the Sacred Band of Thebes. They were comprised of 300 homosexual lovers, or 150 pairs, that ended Spartan domination in Greece. The Ford F-150 is the 9th most popular vehicle in the world, despite having virtually no sales outside the US. The only other American cars in the top 10s are Teslas, which are worldwide. Created in 2000 by the Mexican government, Piso Firme is a project which replaced dirt floors with concrete floors in Mexican slums. Changing the flooring actually improved residents' health and happiness, but also their children's communication and vocabularies. Flowers have glands that produce nectar called nectaries. The glands are commonly found at the base of flowers, where they produce nectar as a reward for pollinators. Arsenic is commonly used in the treatment of some types of leukemia. Remember the old show Married with Children? Well, in the 2000s, there were 3 separate South American remakes of that show that ran for hundreds of episodes, starting in 2004 with the Colombian version Casados con Hijos. The Czech Republic is home to the largest castle complex in the world called the Prague Castle. The complex covers over 70,000 square meters and includes numerous palaces, churches, and gardens. It's been the seat of Czech rulers for over 1,000 years. Humans have been creating cave paintings for over 45,500 years. Roman scholar Marcus Terentius Varro correctly speculated about the existence of germs thousands of years prior to the actual discovery of germs. Antlers on deer and elk are shed every year and regrown the following year, and are not a part of their skeleton, unlike how horns are on bovines, sheep, etc. A study by the organization Zippia discovered that your major affects your marriage rate. Between 70 and 80% of majors in the categories of education, plant science, and microbiology will be married by 30. The least likely majors are geography, theater arts, music, philosophy, and internal relations majors, with about 32 to 46%. The Crash It Crush was a one-day publicity stunt in the US state of Texas that took place on September 15, 1896, in which 2 trains were crashed into each other head-on at high speed and no admission was charged. There's a psychological phenomenon called choro, where these individuals believe that their penis has disappeared and causes panic and anxiety in the sufferer. I mean, all you have to do is look down, check. Strange. Researchers at the University of St. Andrews discovered killer whales can imitate human speech. They're able to actually copy words such as hello and bye-bye, as well as sounds from other orcas. Australia is moving north at a rate of 2.7 inches or 7 centimeters per year. Since 1994, it's moved over 5 feet or 1.5 meters. In 1986, Prince recorded an album under the pseudonym Camille, a feminine alter ego portrayed by Prince's extensive range while planning to release the album without any acknowledgement of his identity. There were only 21 days between the first atomic bomb test on July 16th and bombing Hiroshima on August 6th in the summer of 1945. There's a maid cafe in Japan where maids pretend to be your wives. They prepare a home-cooked meal while wearing a bikini. Not surprisingly, the cafe's been in operation for over 7 years. The pea crab is a tiny parasitic crab that lives in oysters and other shellfish. It will actually rub the edge of a shellfish containing a female pea crab for hours until that shellfish opens and allows the male pea crab to enter. There's an island in East Africa about half the size of a soccer field called Meningo that houses about 500 full-time residents. The island even has its own pharmacy, bars, and cafes. In-N-Out has kept their menu essentially the same for over 50 years, with the exception of the secret menu hack of animal-style fries and burgers that started in the 1960s. In 1982, Delta Airlines employees raised $30 million in order to buy a new Boeing 767 as a sign of gratitude and appreciation to the company during economic hardship in the airline industry. Disney executives wanted the Dead Poets Society to be called Sultans of Swing, and instead of learning about poetry, the boys would be passionate about dance. That, with the plotline mostly just focusing on Mr. Keating's character. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, as always, if you want to catch my next upload, remember to subscribe on YouTube and follow on Facebook. I do post my videos on both platforms. Links are in the description. I have almost 1,000 videos, so wherever you're watching, feel free to browse through because I guarantee there's a video that's just for you. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.